Let's take something store-bought and replace it with something homemade. I am making enchiladas tonight for dinner, and these store-bought tortillas have 17 ingredients in them, and about 16 of them I can't pronounce. Also, these tortillas expired 2 months ago yesterday, and look at how soft they look. That tells me that there's a lot of preservatives. So we're gonna toss this in the trash, and we are going to make our own homemade sourdough tortillas, start them right now. Sourdough tortillas have 4 ingredients, which are flour, water, oil, and salt. So let's do it. I'm making 8 tortillas for these enchiladas tonight, and my sourdough starter, Cinderella, was fed late last night. She's not quite discard, but she's also not just fed, so she's gonna work. So we're gonna use 1/2 cup of sourdough starter. We need 1/4 cup of olive oil. I don't have olive oil, so I'm using avocado oil today. So 1/4 cup of oil of your choice. And 1/3 of a cup of warm filtered water. So I just stuck this in the microwave for 20 seconds so that it's warm but not hot. We're gonna combine those 3 ingredients using our dough hook on our stand mixer. Obviously you can do this by hand if you don't have a stand mixer. And we're adding in 1 2/3 cups of flour. I'm using unbleached all purpose, and 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. Then we're gonna let the mixer run until the dough comes together and is smooth. Okay, so if you're gonna ask me how long I ran the mixer for, my answer is 1.5 songs. But I can't tell you how long that is. Probably about 5 minutes. So we're gonna take the dough for the stretch and folds, and the dough should be pretty smooth, like not sticky at all, nothing sticking to my hands, also because it has oil in it, that also helps. But we're simply going to stretch, and if it doesn't stretch a lot, that's okay. And then fold over on top of itself. And then we're gonna rotate a 1/4 turn, stretch, fold over, again, 3rd quarter, stretch, fold over, and then last quarter stretch and fold over. And then we're gonna pop it into the same bowl that we just used, so the stand mixer bowl or whatever bowl you've used to make your dough. And we're gonna put a cover on it and let it sit at room temperature for 30 minutes. You can use a bowl cover if you have one. I use an actual legit shower cap. It's typically what I use. It works really well and it's reusable. Or you can even put a dinner plate on top of it just to make sure that the air doesn't go in and dry out your dough. You wanna make sure that your dough stays moist. So we'll come back in 30 minutes and then we're going to actually make the tortillas. Our dough has done its 30-minute rise and it's ready to go. So we're gonna dump it out on a lightly floured surface. The counter is fine. And we're gonna cut it into 8 pieces because we're making 8 tortilla shells. As I continue to roll these out, I have a cast iron skillet preheating on the stove. And so we're going to cook these one at a time in the cast iron. And as they're cooking, I'll continue to roll out the rest of them. So let's take the first one over, and we don't use anything in the cast iron. It just literally by itself, no oil, no butter, no nothing. And we just pop these guys in there. Once we have them as flat as we can, as stretched out as we can. And we cook them about 2 minutes each side until they are browning and bubbling and looking perfect. So let's take the first one over. So we literally plop it in there and we're just gonna let it sit and it will start to bubble over and brown. You'll know when they're ready to be flipped. We're gonna flip them over and let it cook on the other side for 2 minutes. And then we end up with a plate full of delicious tortillas. They are so good on their own. They can be used for tacos. We're using them for enchiladas tonight, or whatever your heart desires. So that is how you make easy, simple sourdough 4-ingredient tortillas.